I did notice the bottle and the fancy glass were there where they weren't there last time.
Samuel, greetings. I believe you are seeing our actor friend tonight, are you not?
Yeah, the gaslighter in chief.
Yeah, I guess so. I still ain't sure I'm the right therapist for that fella.
There may not be a right therapist for him, but let us think positively. He has put himself in your care, and that is a tremendous step.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm thinking it's gonna be an uphill battle, though.
At least his core distortion is clear, don't you think? You know what it is, I am sure.
Let me remind myself. Let's see. Self-centered, believes he determines what acting must be, diminishes the thoughts and opinions of others. Champion gaslighter, sees the world through theater. So believes he determines what acting must be. So that it feels like that's another control fallacy. Oh no. Okay, so diminishes the thoughts and opinions of others. So that'll be disqualifying the positive then.
Is it disqualifying the positive?
You do know which client you are seeing tonight, yes? Inflating the positive might be more appropriate.
Right. Guess I had a little brain fart.
Okay, no. Personalization. And remind me what personalization is. There's another. Oh yes. So this is our fourth client. Meddy basically. Yeah, from Bronze Age Ireland, and yeah, she's a streamer with millions of followers on Glitch, who she uses to they do things for her, help, even though she doesn't need money. They pay her rent, they buy her stuff, and they offer themselves up as blood sacrifices. Personalization. Okay, assume things happen because of us. Okay, there we go.
It's personalization, right?
Of course, a distortion common to many with narcissistic tendencies.
Yep, it's the Edmund Keane show all day, every day.
Also mythological thing. Yeah, so yeah, it's my is it my yeah, I think I think yeah the first thing she said, we asked how to pronounce her name, and she did say, and then I proceeded to forget.
I recognize your disdain, but pause a moment. It must be difficult for Edmund to make everything all about him all the time, don't you think?
Oh, he certainly makes it seem effortless.
He doesn't have to make everything about him, though.
He doesn't know that. Keep digging, Samuel. You will find his truth. Choose your distortions well.
Maeve? Okay. Oh, okay. And, honestly, what is I might be having Hearthstone flashbacks and saying Maiev. It could be Maeve. I don't know. Anyway, Eddie Keane. Personalization is locked in. What else? Well, he does disqualify the positive quite a bit. I think he does, assume control when he doesn't have it. Does should. I think either Nosferatu thinking or emotional reasoning would probably be another good one. Maybe we'll go with emotional reasoning. Just we'll get a second, another new one in there, and we'll see if we'll see how well I can pick it out. But I mean, if we can't deny he does get quite emotional.
I think I'm all holstered up now.
Very good, Samuel. I wish you patience and compassion. Good luck.
See you later, Andy. All right, now what did Andy teach me? Breathe. I think I'm ready. Right on time. I think I hear him coming. Hey, Edmund, good to see you. How you been feeling these past few weeks?
Empty, my dear boy. Empty. I am but a vessel made for a single purpose. But alas, and alack, that purpose is in supply most rare.
Yeah, it's basically this the whole time.
You mean acting, right?
Aye, that's the rub. Acting, my dear boy. Acting. My thespian blood goes rancid with stagnation, and the only cure seems to me irreprehensible now.
Yeah, and last in his first appearance, we had the option. He was doing a whole monologue. We had the option to cut him off, or we had the option to indulge him, and eventually overindulge him. So obviously we indulged him, and we got an achievement for it.
I do not wish to face these mortal directors, for they dare to tell me my art.
Ain't that what directors are supposed to do?
Oh, my dear boy. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and others have greatness thrust upon them. No director can thrust greatness upon the already great. In mine own case, mine greatness hath already been achieved.
Well, maybe you can help me understand a little better. You said that greatness was thrust upon you, right? How did that happen?
Ah, you are curious to hear what circumstances created this actor non pare. I cannot blame you. Well, recounting such a history will please me indeed.
Yeah, imagine this guy being pleased by talking about himself.
I first rattled the foundations of the stage as a mere babe. Indeed, too young for memory, and yet old enough to command attention. Clad only in swaddling cloth at the age of 4, I was Cupid himself. But my arrows seemingly went astray, for the entirety of the audience fell in love with me. It is the stuff of legend. For tender as my mind was, I could not bear witness to my own greatness. But it does prove that I was indeed born great.
But you said greatness was thrust upon you.
It was a matter of necessity. You may not guess it from my gentle speech, but I am no lordling.
Well, you certainly carry yourself like one.
Selfishly, and surely to spite me, my father shuffled off his mortal coil when I was but a babe in arms, ere I ever graced the stage. It left my mother and myself in dire straits.
Okay. Is he like an actor for Shakespeare? Yeah, he is very much a Shakespearean actor. And actually, Edmund Keane, a real figure. Edmund Keane, the vampire? Well, we're making some assumptions here. But yeah, I think we'll just flip to his page here. Yeah, so a highly influential Shakespearean actor during the Georgian period. Yeah, so Dr. Drayne, not real. Isabella and Edmund, real. Meddy, well, I think he said probably more mythological. Okay, so, and surely to spite me, my father shuffled off the mortal coil. It feels like that's personalization. I know, and I just looked at this. But you know, streamer brain. Yeah, so we assume things happen because of us.
Hold on a sec. You said your old man died selfishly. Well, what do you mean?
Well, what kind of a father drinks himself to death when he has a beautiful baby son at home? I at least waited until my son was older before I did the same.
Eddie, come on. Listen to yourself. I'm sure you didn't die to spite your son, just as your pa didn't die to spite you. I ain't gonna deny his choices hurt you, but they weren't all about you.
Forgive me then. 'Tis ever the fate of an actor to feel every emotion more keenly. The situation my mother and I were left in was most precarious.
And yeah, there's another thing he harps on repeatedly, that actors are more psychically hypersensitive than the mere hoi polloi.
We were the lowest of the low, you see. We lived in the rookeries and begged for our bread. But he that hath wit must make content with his fortune's fit. And oh, did we beg! She was my Queen Gertrude, and I her filthy little Hamlet. Did I mention I played Hamlet at age 14?
Somehow it seemed to slip your mind last time.
No, I hadn't heard that.
Well, anyway, my mother was a competent actress, but it was my wit alone that saved us from destitution.
Ooh, okay, yeah, it feels like he's definitely disqualifying his mother there.
It sounds like your mother did a lot for you. I'm sure the people loved you, but could you have done it alone?
I suppose my dramaturgical purpose would have been lost without a scene partner, but it was I whom the throngs came to see.
I ain't saying that ain't the case, but you might be disqualifying your mother's contribution to your greatness, right?
I don't see how that is relevant, but I suppose so. Let me continue unabated, sir. Forsooth, I was so prodigious that, at the age of 7, I garnered the attention of one Reginald Flopbot of the Worthington Flopbots.
Okay. Here's the thing. I want to say that's made up. It's clearly made up. But if you have any familiarity with England and English place names, you know there's a non-zero chance that there is a family called Flopbots. The Worthington Flopbots.
'Twas he who paid to get me off the streets and into the dormitories. He said, "Edmund, my cherub, the streets are not for you. One day you will be the greatest of actors."
Hey, how about that? You went and proved him right.
Piffle. Master Flopbot never gave a fig about my potential. I was a prop to him, a symbol of his generosity and high breeding.
Well, it worked out for you, though.
Every month, he would stage an elaborate party with all the well-to-do society of London. The dandy fop would stand upon a dais and announce himself as the savior of the city's poor.
Oh, a celebrity philanthropist.
That was my cue. I would be lowered down from the rooftop, wearing naught but swaddling clothes and a set of opulent wings.
A 7-year-old in swaddling clothes. And actually, that would have started at 7. If it happens every year.
The gentry's delight was my dungeon, but I would flit among them, reprising my breakout role as Cupid by shooting little arrows of love at them. At the age of 7, it was most disquieting. At 11, on the cusp of manhood, the shame was too much to bear.
Okay, I was wondering.
Dang, Eddie, that sounds awful. That Flopbot fella had no right to do that to you.
No, indeed. I remember my last performance quite vividly. The titters and leering glances from the guests linger ever in the back of my mind. And fool that I was, I played my part still. I should have plunged mine arrows into that fool Flopbot's chest instead of shaming myself.
Says who?
Hold on a sec there. You saying you should have stood up for yourself. Where the heck does that come from? You were 11 years old. How the heck were you supposed to know any better?
I knew enough to know that being paraded around in swaddling clothes was a farce, and yet I played along. So yes, I should have done something about it.
And then what would have happened?
I don't know, but I would have been spared the indignity that I participated in.
You also would have been kicked out of the house.
You didn't have those answers then, and ain't nobody would expect you to. That's kind of how exploitation works, Eddie.
Indeed, the word exploit was not even in the standard lexicon at that point. How could I have known? Regardless, I swore that night to never be a puppet again. I stole away and gave myself to the mercy of Poseidon. The bargain was struck, and he swallowed up my hated swaddling clothes and wings.
No, see, you're wrong there, Edmund. It's Hera or Zeus who do the exchange booths.
In desperation, I signed on with a mercantile shipping agency. I thought perhaps that my body would bend more than my soul. But oh, did I toil! Life upon the sea is most cruel. Biting winds did carve my visage. Low words hardened my heart, and heavy weights left me bent.
Yes! Ha ha! Yes!
By the time I had fulfilled my bargain with the Lord of the Sea, I had become an older man, my efforts etched into every crease on my face.
Dang, sounds intense. How long were you at this job?
An age, a life. 6 months, each one a hungry leech torn from my bleeding body.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, 6 months doesn't sound, but 6 months at sea, especially if you grew up an actor, that could do something to you.
I am convinced this gauntlet was prepared for me alone. For ne'er in history has one so blessed by grace been subjected to such toil.
Yeah, it also feels like personalization.
Eddie, I gotta stop you there. It's gonna be a lot easier to accept your truth when you realize you ain't alone in your suffering. Hell, there ain't nothing more human than suffering. And historically, kids ain't had it so good.
But none suffered as I suffered. A boy such as I was not meant for such misery.
Oh, and Edmund has not heard of cabin boys, clearly.
Compadre, I had my first kill and no home at 12 years old. My brother had a stutter his whole life on account of the regular beatings my stepdaddy gave him. Maybe your suffering felt like the only suffering in the world, but it wasn't. And it'll hurt less when you realize you weren't alone. But keep telling me your story. I already know there ain't nobody like you in the world, so don't worry on that account.
Now then, at last, we close the circle, as nature ever demands. I return to London, and into the graces of my dear Uncle Moses and his comely mistress, Charlotte. 'Twas she who filled my dramaturgical quiver with dire arrows, fletched by the bard himself. And when my deft fingers plucked the bow of humanity, at last I was free.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm there with you, Sam.
I cannot speak more plainly. The good woman taught me the works of Shakespeare, and armed with this knowledge, I conquered the stage and saved myself from toil.
There, see? More plain.
Oh, well, right.
And so, you see, the die was cast from the moment I was born. The stage was made for me, and it was my skill upon it that saved me from the streets, and saved me once again from a life at sea.
Okay, the stage was made for me. Okay, I mean, that still feels a lot like personalization.
Eddie, my man, I got some good news and bad news for you. The truth of the matter is, fate doesn't give a stable full of horse shit about you. Ain't none of us are that special. The world ain't waiting for us to show up. It's just gonna keep turning.
Perhaps you are right, my dear boy. You are correct. My success was not because of the fates, but in spite of them. The fates said, Edmund, you are a child of the slums. But I shamed the immortal hags in my own manner. The stage roused my spirit. Thus I knew my destiny lay upon it.
Okay. I think, yeah, I'm gonna say, I knew in italics. It feels like emotional reasoning.
You got it, amigo. You wanted the stage to be your ticket out of the bad days. Maybe that's why you were so successful. Your intrinsic motivation made you keep pushing to be better.
'Tis so. 'Tis so. The threat of the rookeries loomed ever upon my overladen spirit. Acting presented itself as a way to keep myself out of them. It is natural that I should weigh its importance so heavily.
I can see why acting means so much to you, Eddie. I probably feel damn near the same about the things that got me out of my bad days.
Thank you. Then you understand how my alienation from the theater does pain me so. And yet, the cure is as deadly as the illness. These damnable critics, not a single lifetime among them, and they deign to challenge my interpretation of the written word. They simply cannot relate to my singular experience. I will bare my soul upon that stage, and they will all sneer and malign it on their internet profiles.
The internet? Is that thing still around? Okay. So it says they simply cannot relate. Oh, it's not a should statement. And they will all... Is it? Okay, I feel like this might be a control fallacy. It's... Okay. If it's the first sentence, they simply cannot relate. That could be disqualifying the positive. But I think the second one, I'll bear my soul upon it, and they will all sneer and malign. Yeah, it's... Yeah, that feels like it... Yeah, he's not making it about him. I don't think. And it has to be one of these because we had the option. I think we've seen, like, when the red glow comes up but the buttons don't. I think that's our cue that we, like, the cognitive distortion that is happening is not among it. It's one of the ones we left out.
For someone that lives for adulation, Edmund has a dim view of his fans, don't you think? They simply cannot relate to my singular experience.
Well, Eddie, the way I see it, you're
That was
not
my
on
next
stage
guess.
doing vampire plays. You're portraying the whole human experience. If you want your audience to respect you, you gotta respect your audience. They might not have lived a long time, but they're still human.
Scarcely. Critics are but an afterbirth of creation. But as you say, they are humans, and for certain they do bleed.
So keep that in mind and you might find your job easier. I took a look at your Wikipedia entry last night, Eddie. Maybe you've had a few bad critics here and there, but history says you're a legend, and your work speaks for itself. Hell, you were around before film was ever a thing, and people still remember you.
Ah, your words warm me, as an heir-sat son for the one we have forsaken. With thy help shall I gird my soul mayhap, and grace the stage once more.
Well, let's talk about that then. What's the biggest thing stopping you from getting back up on that stage right now?
Being a vampire?
That it all simply might not be worth it. Why should I bear my damned soul when the audience hath not the sight to see it?
Oh, okay. You know what I'm doing here? I'm carrying over vampire lore from the World of Darkness in particular. I think in this timeline we know vampires exist and we're cool with it. There is no masquerade. So seeing Edmund Keane out there, going about on stage, even though he was, again, from the Georgian period, people might just be okay with that.
Maybe I can ask you a question then. What if there were no audience?
No audience? Do you know what a stage is, sir? It is a platform where life in brief may be portrayed. It is a platform because it is separate from the audience. Without such, the stage ceases to be a stage.
As in, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Simply but elegantly put, my dear boy. Without the audience, the stage loses all meaning, like a monarch without a kingdom.
Okay, yeah, not a should statement. It does kind of feel like it's disqualifying the value of the actor and the acting on its own. It's not personalization because it's making it about the audience. Yeah, but it could be maybe emotional reasons. It's his view about the audience. That there's no audience, it makes everything meaningless.
Humanity existed for tens of thousands of years before the stage was ever conceived of.
God dang it!
And somehow we survived.
Simply but elegantly put, my dear boy. Without the audience, the stage loses all meaning, like a monarch without a kingdom.
Humanity existed for
simply but elegant.
Just a minute there, partner. You're saying that the stage is nothing without the audience. But I gotta ask you, where does the acting come from?
Okay, I overthought it.
Ah, but from simple tongues, the purest of queries, narrow in breadth, but as deep as the sea. The source of acting is everything, my boy. The beating of every heart, the cry of every child, the fluttering of a butterfly's wings. The roots of acting are intertwined with those of life itself.
So does acting come from the audience or from everything?
My dear boy, you prove yet again, as the bard oft did, that 'tis the fool who sees the truth as it is. I bow to your simple wisdom.
Thanks, I guess. Let's figure out how we can bring it back to acting. Forget the audience. I know we can't see in mirrors and all, but what do you think of filming yourself?
Brilliant notion. Yes, I shall become my own audience. I shall bring myself to rapture. Forsooth, if I cannot pleasure myself, whom can I pleasure?
Okay, yeah, Sam's gonna get uncomfortable at the thought of that.
We're still talking about acting, right?
Yep, there we go. Oh, hey, Freebird, good to see you. You love it? Yeah, I think it's a really neat game, and it's definitely the kind of thing I look for in a next fest, or just the little sleeper hits. And I know it's not going to be like a game of the year thing or anything, but I really like it, and these are the games I like championing. But also, good to see you, Free. But how are you doing? How's your weekend going? And how was the DC United game you mentioned last time I saw you? You had a good time there, I hope.
Oh, my dear boy. The pleasures of the flesh are secondary to one who knows character above all else. Indeed, we speak of the noble art. I shall do as you suggest. If there is one on this lonely orb that can inspire an artist such as I, it is myself.
I ain't sure I'd put it exactly that way, but I think you're touching on the thing we've been talking about. The motivation's got to come from you, amigo.
We are of one mind, dear boy. Perhaps I left my muse in the mortal realm, but I shall find him once more. Not only for myself, but also for my public. Yea, the masses flock to my Wikipedia page as moths to a flame, each a silent plea for the return of the one true artisan of the stage.
Okay, that definitely feels like some personalization, making it all about yourself there. You got that? Okay, no worry. Yeah, I wanted to ask how the weekend going, and how did the DC United game go? I think you mentioned that last time you were here. But yeah, I think I'll just say that it is very much the kind of game I look for in Next Fest. I know that there are some obvious standouts, but I like to find these little gems here and there, like what's that? A Highland song, or Plushie from the Sky, or just the little weird ones, the offbeat ones. And especially if you can find one like this, has got this kind of love and attention given to it, and especially with this kind of voice acting dedicated to it, I am delighted to find that and to give it a bigger stage, as much as I can. Yeah, they flock to my Wikipedia page. Burr, 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 burr.
Now hold your horses there, fella. You're reading a little too much into the whole Wikipedia thing. There's 1.5 million reasons why people might be looking you up.
And then we're busting out the horse whisperer magic again. Love their different games. One like this takes such an easy part. Yeah, and I'll say I don't think I've ever come across a game that has not just worked therapy into it as much as this has, but it has done so lovingly and so with such care and attention.
I mean, I hear tell the biggest Wikipedia page out there is the one for that coronavirus that got all them mortals all worked up, and I'm pretty sure they don't want that coming back.
And thus dost thou scuttle a burgeoning friendship with the cannons of enmity. Why must you challenge me so?
That's my job, compadre. Ain't we had some good breakthroughs today? We couldn't have gotten there if I'd been busy agreeing with everything you said.
Oh, very well. But I still say you are most vexatious.
I've been called worse. I think we got some homework for you, though, right? You're gonna film yourself and do some acting for its own sake. We'll check back in a few weeks. But Eddie, I think you're doing great. We made a lot of progress today.
Naturally. The human condition is my oeuvre. Nevertheless, you have been a competent guide. You have reminded me of what is most important in unlife. Me.
Yep. There we go.
I should like to give you a gift.
Oh, come on. You don't need to do nothing like that.
Nonsense. It is meaningless to me, but it is beyond price for you. It is my headshot, signed with my autograph.
Oh, thanks, Eddie.
Cherish it always. If you help me to find my muse, then it is a gift even more precious. And I will find it ere we next meet. Of that, I promise you.
Well, let's not put the pressure on, amigo. Just enjoy some acting. That's all I'm asking for. I'll see you in a few weeks then, okay?
Verily, so it shall be. Godspeed then, boy. Thou shalt witness me new and on. Farewell.
A similar game you played when Flash games were still a thing is a form of combative dialogue with philosophy instead of therapy. Oh, okay, yeah. And Flash games, that should tell you just how long ago that was. Though yeah, those haven't been a thing for a while. We can go. Well, just going to check out a Pokeball place. Nice. Start up a new job. Oh yeah, I think I heard through the grapevine that you did make that move to the new thing. You and several of your other former co-workers. ID in the game was fun, unless you know all the chance feels kind of isolated. Oh, so were you standing with the one of the supporters groups? I forget, like They had like was it La Norte, Bada Brava, Screaming Eagles? Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, if you're there with the hardcore and you're not familiar with that thing, yeah, it can be a little disorienting. Well, they ported it to Steam. Interesting. Socrates Jones Pro Philosopher. Okay, interesting.
A job well done, Samuel. I was particularly impressed at the way you challenged Edmund on what acting means to him.
Yeah, he's a weird fellow, but I think he's gonna do okay.
It can be hard for our kind to retain our intrinsic motivation. Something must keep him going. I do hope that he will find his. But you, Samuel, must rest. The work you have done in these past 2 months deserves to be celebrated. So do not linger here in this dusty room.
And there's a double clutch there at the start.
Perhaps you can even be encouraged to dance.
No.
I think I'm gonna need a lot more therapy myself to get to that point.
Very well, Samuel. Then let us at least make sure you get well nourished. Find a friendly neck downstairs, my friend. You deserve it. And rest in peace.
Okay, and so yeah, next we have the millennia old.
They say don't let your babies grow
streamer.
up to be cowboys, but maybe don't let them be actors either.
Let's take a look. Okay, so Edmund had his whole identity at the stage because the stage saved him from the streets when he was a kid. Obsessed with the audience. Disqualified as he positive about any other actor. Okay, so that definitely locks that down. Suffered abuse when he was a kid. Still thinking the same when he was a kid, that the stage is always going to offer salvation. I suggested Edmund try acting for his own sake. He forgot the fun while he was looking for safety. Hope it goes well.
Time to dish with Crimson a little. I gotta talk to some more folks though. Andy's mainly my teacher, so I'm starting to feel like Crimson's my only friend. Hey, only friend.
Excuse me?
What? Oh, yeah, Crimson. Hey, Crimson.
Are you blushing, vampire?
No, that ain't possible.
It's all right. It's nice to hear from a vampire who's younger than Jesus. Now, let's hear how this week went before you go out there and find friend number 2.
All right, real quick. This client of mine, he had a real bad time as a kid. Well, worse than I did, it sounds like. But he found fame early, and now he's talking about fate and how he's destined for greatness again.
Met plenty of destined for greatness folk in D.C. I lost patience for it. How do you think you handled him?
Yeah, we only had to bust out the horse magic once. I'd say it went pretty well.
I learned my lessons from the last session. He didn't threaten to jump off a cliff this time or anything. I gave him an assignment, to film himself doing something he loves doing. He seemed excited about that.
You're either brave or adorable, Sam Walls.
There's nothing brave about it. As for adorable, well, some have used words to that effect before.
Okay, now I know you're confident enough to get out there. Giddy up.
Here we go. Right to the edge of the dance floor, but not on it. Don't want anyone getting any funny ideas.
So I think this game is going to close with Sam dancing, isn't it? It has to.
Once more alone, I see.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we encountered Panoptobella last time. Her and her eyeball motif.
You scared the shit out of me.
But you can't shed. You're a vampire. Know that I see much, vampire, and that I like what I see.
Oh, it's her again. Well, I was hoping to find a mortal friend, or at least a willing Nick. Now, what do mortals of this time talk about?
Be awkward about the weather. Be awkward about everyday annoyances. Be awkward about music. I feel like music might go the worst. Let's be awkward about everyday annoyances.
So, daylight savings time, huh? Whose idea was that, Van Helsing, am I right?
I like daylight savings. I can see things more clearly in the daylight, but I can also see how this policy is inconsiderate to vampires. I'm sorry, vampire. I see how this could be an inconvenience.
You see a lot, don't you?
Why don't you tell me what you see?
I see an interesting mortal. Someone observant. Someone who isn't afraid to have their own style.
That is what you observe. It is not what you see.
Well, fine, you tell me what I see.
You see the long vein across my throat. It looks very juicy, doesn't it?
Well, now that you mention it, it does.
Then consent is given. Do not hesitate, vampire.
There you go. Yeah, consensual blood drinking only, Chad. We want the red. We want it up here.
Shucks, that was something else. You got good circulation there.
I see. And what do I taste like?
Kinda earthy. You could use some iron. What do you eat most often?
I eat a lot of carrots. They're supposed to be good for one's eyesight, and I like to see.
I feel like there's better ways of doing that.
I see now that you are tired and wish to enter your state of torpor.
Well, maybe I'll see myself out then.
Sam, just don't. Yeah, she's heard that before.
That's offensive. I'm going to leave now.
Shoot, was it something I said? Well, at least I got a full belly. And now, time for some shut-eye.
Yeah, Sam might be quick on the draw with the gun, but with the one-liners, much less so.
Good evening, Samuel. I believe you are seeing the Ancient One tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, so yeah, Meddy was the one who wanted to put us in a onesie and then treat us like a mouse and put us in a cage to be all adorbs with. Strangely enough, Sam was not into that.
Ancient One? She's 1,200 years younger than you, Andy.
I suppose I was engaging in a bit of labeling myself. You are, of course, correct. Still, her age presents a unique challenge. After one lives for 1,000 years, history seems less a line than a fixed point.
Oh yeah, let's go over our notes. Yeah, so Meddy again. So 1,800 years old. She actually is a streamer on Glitch, millions of followers. The demands of her followers are, they have her overworked. So it talks about morals if they're all the same. Let's see, like overgeneralization. Spends a lot of time online. Strong one-way attachments with her followers, even that one way ends up at the grave. Needs to get outside. Bad at boundaries. Yeah, especially bad at boundaries. So figure why she got such a simple view of mortals. Maybe she'd be better off if she didn't see him as ants. Okay, so that's probably some generalization, I think, is going to be.
Speaking of which, I imagine you can guess what distortion an old one such as Meddy might fixate upon.
Okay, yeah, overgeneralization.
It's got to be overgeneralization. She really is basing all her opinions on her experiences when she was alive.
Very good, Samuel. I heard tales of her island in my time, but they were never peaceful tales. I am not surprised she finds safety in her narrative. What other distortions do you think Meddy might exhibit?
Okay. Well, we have seen control fallacies from her. I think, yeah, I think last time she did do some disqualifying the positive. Could probably do some Nosferatu thinking, and then labeling. Yeah, should statements, maybe not so much. She's one of the rare ones who doesn't do should statements, or at least as much as, say, Edmund and Isabella. I feel like she might also get into some personalization. Making things about her that aren't necessarily so.
Good to go, boss.
Then I will leave you to it. Good luck, my friend.
Hello again, strange cowboy man.
Yeah, and we didn't get any confirmation last time whether this is heterochromia or contact lenses. Considering that one is green and one is pink, plus we got the pink braids here, I'm leaning more toward contact lenses, especially to go with the nails. Is it weird that this is making me reflect on some of your therapy sessions? No, it absolutely is not. This is, well, for one thing, this is all based off of real cognitive behavioral therapy concepts. but also it is. I mean, I mean, just speaking for me, I know that it is. There are bits in the it covers some ground that I know accurately describe my own thing. Like I was saying yesterday, when we got to like the part about disqualifying the positive, and Sam being very prone to like shooting down compliments and like doing so with the best of intentions, trying to remain humble, don't get a big head. But it is a cognitive disorder. It's a way of deflecting reality, and as I added myself, also making the person who's trying to compliment you feel dumb, and you don't want to do that. So I think it is, and also like some of the discussions on Little Bat Games' Twitter. I think people have also they've been retweeting people who've been talking about how the game is is reflecting some of their own thinking back at them, and it's making them feel things.
It's good to see you again, Meddy. How's the past month been for you?
We went for a walk, just like you suggested. Didn't like it very much.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. What was so unpleasant about it?
It's very loud outside, and dirty, and smelly. Everywhere I walked, it smelled like mortal food, which is disgusting.
Like, do you live by a bakery or something?
They knew how good it felt to drink blood. Maybe they would not eat so much of this pizza food.
Oh, pizzeria. Oh, that's even worse. And by worse, of course, I mean better.
There's so many cars, too. I don't like cars. They have hateful faces. They look so angry all the time. Stepped in a wee, killed 7 men, and got splashed by a bus. It's really quite awful.
You killed 7 men? How the heck did that happen?
Oh, that was inconvenient, Normally I have my zealots do that kind of thing for me. They take care of the bodies. But I had to do all that silly work myself. And now there are always police sirens going off, which interrupts my streams and makes my followers very sad.
Do we dare ask why you had to kill 7 men?
Why did that all happen?
There we go.
Because they found the bodies everywhere, silly. I don't know what to do with my rubbish.
Yeah, so and Meddy, I mean, when Meddy says her followers do everything for her, I don't think she's overstating it.
I meant, why the killing? You didn't happen to make a few assumptions based on past experiences? Why kill a bunch of men?
Oh, well, they looked at me. I know what mortals who look at me are like. If I let them live, they'd probably try to burn me as a witch. I could do nothing but kill them.
Okay, yeah, so this is... I mean, that makes it personalization, making them looking at that. But I think, know what mortals who look are like. Yeah, it is definitely overgeneralization.
Hold on a sec. You know what mortals who look at you are like. How do you know? Are you reading their minds?
I don't have to read their minds, sweetling. I have known manlings for a very long time.
I get what you're saying. But here in this room, at least, we gotta be honest with ourselves. Do you really know what they were thinking?
Silly mouseling. I do not need to know what a wolf is thinking to know what a wolf is.
But they're not wolves, they're humans.
Does that mean every wolf you see is gonna try to eat you?
We don't have wolves anymore. They're all gone now.
So maybe you can see where that kind of thinking can be a problem. It was scared people who killed all them wolves, right? Now I know that thinking doesn't come from nowhere. Old as you are, I'm sure you've seen some real awful stuff.
That's right. Haven't killed you, though. You are kind, little mouse.
Well, let's lay off the mouse stuff a little.
I'm sorry. I don't wish for you to scurry away into a little hole. Do you want to hear why I feel the way I do?
Oh, please do.
I would appreciate it greatly, miss.
Let me tell you about men from my time, then. Let's start with me, Da. My father sold me and my mother to a chief of a rival clan for a golden necklace.
That is just horrifying.
Oh, don't fuss, sweetling. It was the most beautiful golden necklace. At least 2 girls' worth. My father got quite a deal, really.
That's a curious exchange rate, but okay.
You're using humor, but I'm sure that must have been heartbreaking for you.
It was common at the time. I suppose I should have been glad to be the possession of an old chief.
Okay, so that's a should statement, but we don't have that.
I knew girls who did as they were told. They would have been thrilled to have been the concubine of a powerful chief. But, oh, he was so old. Cormac O'Neill, the oldest man I had ever seen. I remember thinking, where is his face? Because I could not see it under all his disgusting wrinkles.
How old was the guy?
38.
Oh, practically ancient.
That was pretty old in your time, huh? Wish I'd died at 38. Could have been a better looking corpse.
Well, he left an awful looking corpse. His face was all...
I'm guessing you had something to do with that, huh?
Not me. My boyfriend, Abertach. He told me he'd set me free. I suppose he did. He created a delightful poison for me. He said it would make my dear master die in excruciating pain.
And if that's not love, I don't know what is.
So, one night I lay with him, and that means I did sex. And when he was pleased, I fed him the poison mead. Abby did what I couldn't, and the old fool finally died.
Okay. So I think the operative bit here is Abby did what I couldn't. So I think that's control. Yeah, I think it might be. Yeah, assuming helplessness.
You're saying your boyfriend killed your husband, but it sounds to me like you did the real work. He mixed up some herbs, sure, but you were the one that had to sleep with the old man and get the poison in him.
Abby made sure I knew it was because of him that I was free. He said it could never have happened without him.
He didn't have to be brave to mix up a potion. I think the bravery was all you, Meddy. Don't disqualify the idea that the person who set you free was you.
You know, I think you're absolutely right, strange cowboy man. I did do all the work. But Abby never let me forget that he was the one who freed me. He wanted me to worship him.
A fella who demands to be worshipped is always going to be a dangerous man.
Definitely a thought that is applicable in no other context. Definitely not any current ones.
Dangerous men have always been drawn to me. Must be something about the way I am.
Okay, yeah. So let's think about the way I am. That just sounds like personalization.
Now don't go blaming yourself for bad men being bad. I'm sure you'd rather be left alone.
Well, that's what I thought, but it seems I am a temptress. That's what the churchmen say.
That's what they call all women, though. But yeah, that would be that's labeling. But again, we don't have labeling amongst our options here.
Look, you deserve to be yourself. If people are giving you the wrong kind of attention, that ain't your fault. It's theirs. Heck, I think they should be in the chair you're sitting in right now.
Probably try to sniff it. Repellent little blood bags. No kink shaming, of course.
So what happened after you killed Cormac?
The Neil clan came after me and Abby. They found him, took their swords and went, stab, stab, stabby, stabby, stab, stab, stab.
Yeah, pity there's no motion to go with, but I think you can probably infer what the action she's making.
But Abby just laughed. That's how I found out he was undead already. Gave me the willies.
Wait, do we have another vampire dating a mortal teenager?
When they couldn't kill Abby, they decided to kill me instead. And that made him very upset indeed, because I belonged to him.
That must have been terrifying.
I suppose. Mostly hurt. Lots and lots. Getting stabbed is much fun when you're immortal.
I ain't too fond of it as a vampire neither.
Abby fed me his blood, though, and then I became like him. When I woke up, the Neil clan who tried to kill us were all properly dead.
So she couldn't even consent to becoming a vampire.
Well, almost dead. They still had a lot of blood left, and I was hungry. The Neil clan was ever so cross, though. They captured Abby and sealed him in a tomb with some forgotten spells. He's still there as far as I know.
Now that's yeah. So Abby is different from the whoever it is that was gonna have been the druid sealed in a tomb who's gonna come back and destroy us all. I think. So she mentioned that other one in her previous session.
What happened to you?
I didn't have a future with my tribe. I insulted both my clan and Cormac's clan by killing their chief. My only choice was to be alone. That's the wisest choice.
Okay, is it my okay? There, my only choice was to be alone. I don't. Okay, now is that a control fallacy or is that Nosferatu thinking? Like, yeah, I think maybe black and white thinking, or is it assuming a lack of control where she did? I think it's probably more Nosferatu thinking.
That kind of all or nothing
There we
thinking
go.
could get us in trouble. If we think all is lost, we're liable to do things we wouldn't normally do. I know I did some stuff I regretted in them moments, and I sure wish I'd taken a breath and stepped back in all them times.
You sound so sad when you say that, funny cowboy man.
I'm all right. I'm just saying, you're a capable lady. You've always got more options than you think in a bad moment.
Oh, but you're just a child. I don't want you to be sad.
Well, let's focus on you, huh? You say you've been living alone ever since then?
Of course, my silly cowboy man. We aren't mortal anymore. We will always end up alone. Why waste my time?
Okay, again, we will always end up alone. That is that. Yeah, there's definitely control there. She's thinking she doesn't have.
Come on, Meddy. You're distorting a lot of reality there. All vampires ain't lonely. Some of us choose to be, but not all of us. Sure, mortals have a habit of dying, but there will always be more of them. Not to mention all the vampires out there. Heck, I used to be in a vampire gang. Cult. Well, kind of both. They weren't good company, but they certainly weren't lonely. I mean, ain't we talking? Well, there's loads of vampires out there who think like you do, and they're fulfilling their own prophecies of loneliness.
You're being a mean little mouse now, and I don't like it very much. Maybe I should have killed you after all.
I'm trying to help you, Meddy. The world's changed a lot in the last 1800 years. A lot of it bad, but a lot of it good too. By and large, most people ain't burning witches and selling their daughters. That sort of thing's frowned upon by mortals these days.
Well, most mortals.
There are laws out there to protect folks now. It ain't like in old times.
May I tell you a story, little mouse?
All right, tell me a story.
Once upon a time, there was a very pretty young lady. Pretty, but also crazy. Like me.
Again, labeling.
The pretty young lady Mary had moved in with her cousin, Mrs. Hultridge. At first, they got along quite well.
You're gonna head out for your beer? Okay, enjoy the poke. Have a good day. Yeah, we'll catch you later.
But one day, Mary started acting naughty. She would shout, act unladylike, and even say that Jesus Christ wasn't very special. Mrs. Hultridge liked Jesus Christ very much and wanted Mary to like him too. When she didn't, this embarrassed Mrs. Hultridge. She began to think something was wrong with Mary. After all, who didn't like Jesus Christ?
I can think of a few people. The Romans among them.
Mrs. Hultridge said that Mary had begun to vomit up pins and buttons, nails, glass, and bits of wool. Instead of being grateful for the free gifts Mary was vomiting up, Mrs. Hultridge said that she had been attacked by 8 witches in spectral form. Now, it just so happened that all 8 of those witches lived very close to the town where Mrs. Hultridge lived. Despite their magical prowess, the 8 witches were captured and put into the stocks, and all the people of the town were told that the women did not like Jesus Christ at all. So the Jesus Christ-liking people threw rotten vegetables and poo at the witches. And, just for fun, they gouged out the eye of one of them.
Well, I mean, but when you heard what Jesus said, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, you can understand why the witches might not be big fans.
Then they kicked the witches out of town and lived happily ever after. The end.
Well, that ain't a pleasant story.
Oh, It was very unpleasant. It hurts very much to have your eye taken away, but I like my new eye. It's fun.
Okay, so it's not heterochromia. It's just a artificial eye.
I was 1500 summers old or so when that happened. The world hadn't changed much then. I don't think it's changed much now.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Meddy. You're right. Folk can be pretty awful when they get riled up. That ain't changed.
Oh, don't be sorry, little mouse. I like my new eye. Also, the story has a happy ending.
You killed everyone, didn't you?
Oh yeah? What's that?
After I had my eye taken away, I took Mrs. Haltridge's parts away too, one by one until she died. It was so much fun.
That's a little morbid, Meddy.
Morbid Meddy? Oh, I like that. That's very clever, little mouse. But you see why I'm careful now?
Yeah. Meddy's got some edge to her.
Yeah, I get it. But look, there's one thing that's different now, and that's...
Okay, well, the UN exists. That's not helping. Liberal democracy has solved everything. Very funny.
It's what we're doing right now. In all that time up till now, therapy ain't never existed. We only just started looking at ourselves and the way we think.
I mean, they made that multiple choice question pretty obvious.
Before recent times, we only looked at gods, government, and society. The self is a new frontier, and we're learning stuff we never considered before. The frontier can be kind of scary, but being on that frontier means moving forward. Come with me.
Silly mouse. If something feels scary, that means that there must be something to be scared of.
Okay, and I think that's emotional thinking, but again, that's not among the ones we picked.
I know you've been through a lot, and you got damn good reasons for being careful. But there's a reason you came to me, right?
Yes, but it wasn't because I wanted to go outside. It's because of my fans. They're very demanding.
Right. That's why we were talking about your going for walks and went down this rabbit hole.
Or, in your case, a mouse hole.
Anyway, therapy usually ain't about just one thing. It's about lots of things. If the problem is your fans, we gotta imagine unlife without them, right?
Don't want to lose them all. Some of them are gentle. They're too weak to hurt anyone, which is why they don't.
Some of them, they're too weak to hurt anyone, which is why they... Okay, that's... I feel that might be... could be overgeneralizing.
You really think weak people would hurt others if they were stronger?
Little mouse, I've been alive for a long time. I believe what my eye shows me. Yes, if one is capable of hurting another, they do.
They can, but they don't always. You ever seen them capybara animals? They're dang massive rodents and could do some damage if they wanted to, I reckon.
Oh, yes! Oh, they're very cute. People like to share animated pictures of them in my community.
Some folk are like that. They just want to sit around and have someone scratch their bellies.
Is that what you want, little mouse? Do you want me to scratch your belly?
Okay, again, Meddy and her boundary issues.
What? No, I'm just saying, don't assume everyone's out to hurt someone. Yeah, it happens. Of course it does. But that kind of thinking ain't giving folks their fair shot.
Don't know what I'll do if I don't have my followers. I can't live the way I used to before the machines took over.
Is that the only way you can live, though?
Oh, they expect so much of me now. They send me messages all night and all day. They need content.
I know. Everyone wants content.
God, if I don't give them their content, they'll all leave. Their attention spans are like those of little bugs, but they're not as cute.
Okay, if I don't give them their content, they will leave. Yeah, that feels I think it feels like Nosferatu thing. It's the if statement.
Okay, I think we need to talk about moderation.
Oh, I already have moderators, silly mouse. Any major content creator has to have them.
Okay, yeah, I figured that's where that was going.
I don't know what that stuff means. I'm talking about moderation in your thinking. What if you gave your fans only what you felt comfortable giving?
Doesn't matter what I want, silly mouse. They just want me to overreact to video games.
Do they, though? Yeah, I feel overgeneralization there.
Meddy, you're thinking that mortals want only one type of content is forcing you to make only one type of content. Your assumptions are keeping you from doing things you like, and you deserve to do things you actually enjoy.
You're very kind. I thought cowboys were supposed to be tough.
Who says I ain't? I just don't have nothing to prove no more.
Yes, Brady B. There is. Wait, the damp dad content is all we really need.
Here, why don't we try something new for next time, since going out didn't go so well last time. I want to challenge you to take a day off. Don't answer any messages, don't post no content. Just do something for you and you alone. Take a sick day.
But we never get sick. We're dead people.
They don't know that, do they? One day. That's all I'm asking for. You need to give yourself a little space.
Very well. Since you've been a very kind mouse, I'll do it for you.
I'd prefer it if you did it for you, but we'll work toward that, huh?
Oh, I wish I had a big piece of cheese to give to you right now.
A lactose intolerance is kind of a side effect of death, but I appreciate the sentiment. I'll see you in a month then, okay?
Okay, so we're going to have at least 3 rounds with everyone.
Yes.
Great. I'll see you then.
Bye.
You are doing well, my friend. I know we old ones can be rather inscrutable sometimes.
She's human. We all are, ain't we? The way I see it, we all got the same problems one way or another.
Your wisdom never fails to impress, Samuel. I believe it is time for you to follow your own advice to Miss Meddy, however.
And what, take a day off? Like she said that because one of the possible mythological deaths of Meddy is a big wheel of cheese. A big wheel of cheese in Bronze Age Ireland, really? I wonder what passed for a big wheel of cheese back then.
All work and no play makes for a dull vampire, as they say.
Yeah, you're probably right. I might hit the hay early and do a bit of reading.
If you must take out some aggression on hay, then please do so. I shall see you soon, my friend. Rest in peace.
Good night, Andy.
Random wheel of cheese got flinged at her, hit her square in the head. Wow. That must have been a rock-solid piece of cheese then.
Wonder how I'll feel about humanity when I'm 1800. Heck, I wonder whether there'll even be a planet.
Oh, there'll be a planet, Sam. Like how suitable it'll be for life, well, that's another issue. Okay, so Meddy's got real good reasons for not being fond of mortals, but it might be narrowing her worldview. Real bad history, sold to a rival warlord and killed by a wizard. I guess wizards are real now? I mean, do you have to ask, though, Sam? If vampires are real, why not wizards? Witches are real, yeah? Abandoned by her clan after she killed her new husband and became a vampire. Pilloried as a witch in the 1700s and had her eye removed. She thinks it's pretty funny. Sounds disgusted by her followers. Try to encourage Meddy to do more things she likes for their own sake and get outside more. Yeah, we still need Meddy to touch grass.
I guess it's time to drown my existential woes in blood. Howdy there, Crimson.
You're sounding a little weary there, cowboy. You getting enough to drink these nights?
Oh, yeah, that ain't it. Just existential ponderings.
That's just my specialty. What's eating you, buckaroo?
It's this old client I got. She's been watching humanity hurting itself for 1,800 years. Every time she expected better, she got hurt. She ain't wrong to mistrust mortals.
That's a tough one. What do you do with someone like that?
Well, I tried to guide her to look inward like I do with everyone. People are people, but so is she.
How do you think she took it?
Well, she didn't throw a big strop, and neither did she try to put us in a cage and force feed us cheese, so I'm going to say it went pretty well.
I think she appreciated the focus on her. I can't answer for all humanity, but maybe she can get answers from herself.
I think you could stand to listen to yourself, Ranchero. You could have been a mean old Dracula, and nobody would expect anything different from you. Reckon there have always been people like you, no matter how bad it's been in history.
Dang, Crimson. I can see why Andy respects you so much. You done some living, sounds like.
Death at the door can put things into perspective. I get where your client is coming from. Changing the world isn't gonna happen, but we can at least change ourselves.
Yeah, well, what's that line? You may not be able to change the world, but you can change someone's world? Maybe that someone is just yourself.
I don't think that's true. The country I left definitely ain't the country I was born in.
The wheels turn a little slowly for us mortals, cowboy. Back in D.C., I was trying to push policy to do something about our poverty problem, but the kind gentlemen across the street were pretty happy to make things worse. When I got my cancer diagnosis, that was my wake-up call to stop getting disappointed and start living with the little amount of time I had left.
Working at a bar is more rewarding than being a member of the bar, huh?
Not bad, cowboy. It's got its charms. Here, I whipped up something special for you.
More blood herbal tea?
That ain't half bad. Got a refreshing taste.
Rose hips.
Hey!
Something extra. Been experimenting with some herbals for Andy.
Rose hip tea! We got the long dark crossover! Finally!
Guess old dogs like us can still learn new tricks. Thanks, Crimson. I think I'll hit the hay now.
You hit that hay, Desperado. I'll see you later.
Got a lot on my mind tonight. I think I need some rest. Now, what should I do to relax?
Okay, so we can reflect on the day with Emerson. Watch a man get his butt burned with a hot iron. We really seem to be leaning hard into these Three Stooges things, or just go to bed. No, a little reading to put us to bed. Oh yeah, so we can see our collectibles are adding up. We got the bottle there. We got the glass, and we have the oh yeah, because we got the photo of us with our first computer in like what was it, like 1989, and then we have our Edmund Keane headshot.
I always pick up a little extra perspective from Ralphie Waldo. Emerson, that is. Let's see if I can find a good passage.
Say, who are you clarifying that for? As far as we know, you're talking to yourself.
Bingo. In the woods is perpetual youth. Within these plantations of God, a decorum and sanctity reign. A perennial festival is dressed, and the guest sees not how he should tire of them in 1,000 years. In the woods, we return to reason and faith. There I feel that nothing can befall me. No disgrace, no calamity, leaving me my eyes, which nature cannot repair. In the wilderness I find something more dear and connate than in streets or villages. In the tranquil landscape, and especially in the distant line of the horizon, man beholds somewhat as beautiful as his own nature. Ain't that the truth? Future's always ahead, no matter how old we get. That's enough for one night. Time to visit Dreamland. Maybe I'll see my princess there.
Okay, so we've done a second round with all of our clients. So next up, I think should be another therapy session for us, which brings new cognitive distortions, maybe? And we have room for what, 3 more? I think.
Samuel, my dear, I do look forward to our chats. How are you feeling tonight?
Oh, actually, we only got the one down there. Also, my dear, that's new. I mean, we've been staying here for now. What I think was like the equivalent of a couple months. So maybe we're tight with Andromachos.
I gotta confess, boss, I'm a little down. I love helping other vampires, but getting therapy myself sometimes ain't much fun.
I understand. Looking in the mirror is difficult for any human, much more so when they don't cast a reflection.
You ain't kidding. It just seems like there's always work to do, you know? Like my walking in the woods for 90 years wasn't nearly enough time.
Well, yeah, we're always a work in progress. We're the only time we're the finished product is when we're dead, and if you happen to be a vampire, well then that's just put off indefinitely.
I dare say you are correct. I believe that we must never cease our walking in the woods. There is no mystery deeper than that of our own existence.
Where do vampires come from anyway?
Well, Samuel, when two vampires love each other very much...
Oh, come on.
Come on, boss, that's not what I'm asking. Where do we come from?
The answer to that is much older than recorded history, my friend. But let us focus on you.
Yeah, I mean, if Beckett hasn't come up with the answer yet, I don't expect this game to.
We should start with some meditation and determine what thoughts are most important to you right now. Close your eyes and envision your place of comfort.
Okay, so we're gonna get another crack at the meditation mini game, but there was no explanation how it works. We just
I ain't good at being a therapist.
okay, we inflate.
Is my hat weird?
And we just click that until it's gone.
Ich bin Sam. Ich bin un. Election looks real bad back home. Dr. Drayne thinks I'm brain damaged. Why'd my mama have to marry that asshole? When's the sunrise? The Senora hates my guts. Sure wish you were still here, Jeb. Actors need help, that's for dang sure. Wish I had more book smarts. Meddy scares the heck out of me.
Well, for good reason.
You're an idiot, Sam, hurting all them folk. Why'd I join up with a gang in the first place?
How are you feeling, my friend?
Okay, yeah. So I think we confirm this. So we keep breathing in, breathing out, and then we just mash the left mouse key on the intrusive thoughts. Yeah, Andrew. It's like. Yeah, it is very much it's kind of a representation of what you're supposed to do in meditation. Like you said that you focus on your breathing, and then a thought comes in. You say, "Oh, hey, there's a thought," and then you just let it pass. You don't wrestle with it. You just acknowledge that it exists, and then you don't linger on it. Don't meditate. I think I don't go through not like a formal process, you say, but or like a formal process. I like a I do know that I do like that. It's like that process of just trying to be still for a minute, and then say, so if when the thoughts come in, because they will inevitably come in, you say, oh yeah, that's my thinking about the cramp in my leg, or the chores I think I need to do, and then don't focus on it, just let it pass. So you call it like informal meditation, maybe, I don't know. But I don't I've never used like apps, or I know gone to like a meditation retreat or whatever. You have to visualize thoughts as a message in a bottle that you toss into your stream. Okay, yeah, and as I'm sure Andromachos would say, if it works for you, then absolutely keep it up. You can, doesn't mean like I'm talking like I know anything about it, but yeah, it's as long as you have the ability to just point to it and say, okay, that is a thought I'm having that I'm going to let go, and I'm going to continue to focus on breathing and being still, then you have done the thing.
Pretty good. I gotta say, my head's been a mess of thoughts lately. I think I was afraid of therapy today.
Why is that, my friend? What thoughts came up?
Well, after last time, I think I was stewing a bit. Just being real angry at myself for joining that nasty cult in the first place.
They preyed on the vulnerable, as cults tend to do. If you had been a man of means with a robust support system, I doubt they would have noticed you.
Not that people of means are immune to cults. I mean, just look at Apple.
Yeah, I know. And honestly, I'm mad about that too. I mean, my country did me real wrong and put me in that sorry state to begin with.
This sounds like a proverbial can of worms.
Yeah, you could definitely say that. After we talked last time, I kept thinking, what could I have done differently? And the answer amounts to horse shit. All that law-breaking I did, all that murdering and stealing and doing no good, that was my country failing me.
Well, I mean, you did kind of choose to do all that too, Sam.
Let us slow down, Samuel. You are making a bit of a logical leap. I have great admiration and empathy for you, my friend, but it is disrespectful to those you hurt to blame anyone but yourself.
I mean, I guess I could have died. Suppose that would have been kinder. But that's a lot to ask a boy to do.
I am not suggesting that you should have died. And I do not suggest that your country was without fault. However, your country had its role, and you had yours. You are using a cognitive distortion called blaming. When we engage in blaming, we ignore or wipe away our own faults, attributing them to someone or something else.
Okay, so we haven't overwritten disqualifying the positive yet. Let's see. So blaming is kind of the opposite of personalization. Instead of everything being about us, we act like it's all about someone else. Yet sometimes we're at fault and just don't want to admit we have some control. When we can't admit contributing to our own problems, we point the finger at someone else, and that's blaming, and a distortion that needs fixing. You may try to rather briefly. Yeah, and yeah, I think brute forcing feels like it's kind of the kind of goes against the whole ethos of meditation. Also, hey Goofy, good to see you. How's things? How did the rest of the Hobbit stream go? Okay, so blaming the opposite of personalization. So personalization, we assume things happen because of us. Whereas blaming, we say things happen and we had nothing to do with it, even though it most likely did. Normal Hobbit stuff? Excellent. Good. Urena says he visualizes himself sitting at the bottom of the ocean and he just sends his thoughts upward in a bubble. Interesting. I'm operating off of sleeping memory where I think there's actually a Star Trek Voyager episode that had something a lot like that when Tuvok was trying to teach Neelix how to meditate. And you can imagine how well that went. And hey, Oliver, good to see you. Hope the weekend's going well. Yeah, we're back here in Vampire Therapist, just having ourselves a fun little mental health time.
Our faults are precious, Samuel. We cannot be ourselves without them. Do not wipe them away.
I mean, I just wish things hadn't been the way they were. If my country had taken a better trail, maybe I would have turned out different.
Differently. I am sorry to interrupt, but Senora Deste might correct you less gently.
No, she definitely would. You never finished Voyager, you've been watching it. Oh, DS9, yeah, DS9. I think. Admittedly, I think I caught on to Trek during like mid to late next gen. But yeah, like DS9 might well be my favorite. So yeah, I am love that. And yeah, Voyager doesn't necessarily hit the heights, but this has some good stuff too. Weekend isn't going too bad. Good. Pizza for dinner. Hey. Yeah, pizza is definitely something to look forward to. Yeah, we're doing okay. Today actually, I had an early thing. I had like 9 a.m. They had these career talks that we have a public service kind of group we have at work, and every so often we have kids come in, usually like high school or like early college age, and we give them career talks, like put them through mock job interviews, and we get like tips on their resumes, interview skills. We try to get them talk through their career plan, stuff like that. I said, yeah, because they can't do like Monday through Friday because we're working. Or the kids are in school, depending on what time of year it is. Now they're off, but still. But yeah, so they come in, and then we do all that. And the nice thing is, like, it runs from like about 9:30 to 1 p.m. But you give up half your Saturday, and you get a whole day off in return. And so I've done, I think I've done like four or five times already in the time I've been here, and I really enjoy doing it. It's like working with kids. It's like teaching English when I was back in Japan. I think I really enjoy it. Working with the young people. Unfortunately, my kid today was a no-show. It's the first time I had that happen, so I just I bounced over and helped someone else out. But it was really neat, and. I'm not saying I wouldn't. Yeah, I would do it anyway, but I also really appreciate the extra day off on top of the ones I already have, and I fully intend to make use of it.
Now then, Perhaps it would help to put blaming into perspective. It is always humbling to see ourselves in the mirrors of our minds, is it not? Let's try some examples. See if you can tell when I am blaming.
But yeah, and the other thing, Oliver, is that I like those kind of talks they would have been really helpful when I was their age, and I got nothing of the sort. I was I was so clueless about how job interviews worked that like the first interview I had, it was for Menards, a hardware, like a big box hardware store. It was for a part-time job, and I was gonna, when I got in, I said, you know, I think midway through the interview, the guy asked, "So would you be interested in a career here?" And me being the dumb kid I was honest and said no. Shockingly enough, I did not get the job. You haven't done a job interview in over a day. Yeah, so I've done more than I would care to. By virtue of the industry and getting laid off every so often. Thank you for the alert, Goofy. Oh, everything is well out where you are. But yeah, so it was fine though. So I ended up. I worked at I think I worked at McDonald's over a summer, a few months, and then I got a call from our town newspaper asking me if I wanted to go work on their sports desk for more than the day I walked in the door, I got $1 an hour raise, so that wasn't a hard sell. That's what they wanted to get. Well, yeah, in all honestly, I am not I was not the handiest of people then. I'm still not now, so I probably wouldn't have been the most. I would not have been a exemplary Menards employee regardless.
I turned into a bat the other day and flew right into a tree. Who put that tree there?
Well, it's definitely not disqualifying the pot. Is that okay? So hang on. Let's. So blaming. So I think it's saying someone put that tree there.
Blaming someone else or the tree for you being clumsy, that ain't gonna do anyone much good. I smacked into my fair share of trees back when I was a youngster, but that was definitely my fault.
Of course, there is no shame in being a novice flyer as a young vampire, but we can be insecure creatures. That's our humanity at work. I was unable to perform in bed with Crimson the other night. It must have been her fault.
Okay, now that's just rude.
Dang, that is some blaming. Takes two to tango, boss. Maybe there's some bad blood brewing between you two, and I wish I hadn't heard about it.
Do not worry, my friend. Crimson and I bring each other great satisfaction.
Okay, good. It was just an example.
All right, I get it.
I said nothing lurid, Samuel. Why are you so distressed?
Because you invoked romance or sex, and Sam here is a stereotypical American who gets all flustered and bothered at the simple invocation of the sex.
Singing great satisfaction. It's like hearing your parents talking about their sex lives. I mean, not that you're. I mean, forget I said anything.
See?
All right, Samuel. Let us move on.
Yeah, the game likes to take its pops at Americans every so often. Sometimes they're justified, sometimes not.
The interface on this widely used new vampire dating app is so modern. How do they expect anyone to use this cursed thing?
Well, I mean, it's either disqualifying the positive or blaming, and it's not. There's no positive there, I don't think.
Come on now, boss. Not every app out there is designed too good, but we can't expect machines to run themselves. Well, that's some blaming right there.
You are correct, Samuel. It was only hypothetical, of course. I do endeavor to keep up with the times. By the way, thank you again for teaching me Control-V and Control-C the other night. What a delightful trick.
Wow, look at us being helpful in the ways of computers.
Oh yeah, way faster than going through the edit menu all the time.
You youngsters always find the latest tricks. Let's keep going, though. Did you see the football game the other night? My preferred team played with great skill and should have won. The referee was clearly an agent of the Dark Lord.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
And now hold on, Andy. I think I saw the game you're talking about, and you're just blaming the ref for your team's mistakes. You got a great tight end, but one that plays a little dirty.
Wait, is tight end? Is Andromachos watching American football? I don't know that I can support that.
Excuse me?
I didn't mean it like that. Oh, heck, I can't talk right today.
It's quite all right. Isn't getting dirty the point of play? It is the fault of the cursed sun that we must live in darkness.
The sun can't help being the sun, so don't go blaming it.
Truly the best shortcut. Yeah, copy paste. Ozzy, the internet would not be half the internet it is without the ability to copy paste.
The way I see it, we got our place. That ain't nobody's fault.
Well done, Samuel. Perhaps the sun is even more brilliant in our memories, and seeing the real thing would spoil it.
Well, that's one way of thinking about it. I think I get it. I ain't trying to erase what I did. I'm just bitter that I felt like I had no choice at all. And it all goes back to the United States taking my daddy away for their manifest destiny. I'm mad at him, too. Dying for his country. What kind of nonsense is that? How'd his country pay him back? By making my poor ma marry a drunk who beat the daylights out of her and his kids? Ain't no damn wonder I turned out the way I did.
Okay, first, how did the country make your mom marry your stepdad?
That must have been devastating, Samuel. Countries are not human. They cannot feel. And stories such as yours prove it.
I mean, what the hell, Andy? My daddy's corpse didn't give a shit about no United States of America. It's kind of funny when you think about it. He died fighting the British so the U.S. could say they own Missouri. Who the fuck cares?
Wait. Fought the British for Missouri? Didn't we buy Missouri off the French? I have to check my textbooks.
I'm telling you, Andy, the best thing about being dead is realizing how little that nationalism crap matters.
Desire for identity can create monsters worse than we. What happened after your father died?
Well, we didn't have nothing. The money was running out, so my ma got married to a hard man who drank even harder. He beat up my older brother, Jeb, for fun. And once Jeb started fighting back, dear old stepdad came for me. And that's when my brother killed him.
It sounds like a tragedy from my own country's mythology. I am sorry that such a thing happened to you, Samuel. Your brother was brave.
No kidding. We went on the run together, but he was the one who kept us alive and fed, mostly through stealing and begging. Once we stopped being cute, begging didn't work anymore, so we moved up to robbing and killing. Killed my first man at 12, and then it got a little too easy.
That is young. I cannot imagine how difficult that must have been, Samuel. My country asked me to kill at 20, and I still remember how devastating it felt.
Yeah, well, nobody told me to do it. Like you said, that was all me. I don't think anyone was surprised either. When my brother and I rode into a town, you should have seen the way people looked at us. They knew we were trouble, and we were determined as hell to prove them right.
Aha, a moment, Samuel. I believe this is an opportunity for some growth.
Yeah, they're making assumptions about other people that might not necessarily be true.
It's them distortions again, huh?
To err is human, as they say. Do not be discouraged. There is something in what you just said that you cannot be sure of. Can you tell me what it is?
Yeah, what those folks were thinking when they looked at him and his brother. I mean, he doesn't know he's not being cute. Cute is in the eye of the beholder. But yeah, it is trouble.
I guess there ain't no way of knowing that people thought we were trouble.
That's right, Samuel. There is one way of knowing exactly what they were thinking, and that would be to read their minds.
You stop being cute? Okay, no, Reddy B, I strongly doubt that. I reject that statement.
Thus is the cognitive distortion called mind reading. Yes, we can weigh evidence and make predictions, but never with complete certainty.
Okay, so we got a fresh one there. All right. So now we added, last time we added personalization, emotional reasoning, and overgeneralization. Now we've added blaming and mind reading. When we assume someone's thoughts, we have no opportunity to prove otherwise. People usually imagine I'm sitting there thinking about horses, but that's true only some of the time. It's mind reading to invent someone else's thoughts. We can't know them. Examples. That hombre there is real quiet. He must be plotting against me. My blood partner is thinking of leaving me for a far sexier vampire. He didn't say so, I just know it. Or, when that lady saw my fangs, she must have thought I would sound like Bela Lugosi. So yeah, mind reading very much, it kind of sums it up on its own. We may have make predictions, but never with complete certainty.
I was a dirty little thieving murderer. I don't blame him for judging me.
Labeling.
First, that's labeling. Second, one of those people might have been patient and gentle, one that had an experience like yours. You cannot know.
Oh, you. You point out the funny, you have no illusions about your cuteness. Yeah. Yes, I have no doubt you are as cute as a button, Freddy B.
With your mind reading, do you see how you made everyone your enemy?
Yeah. You're right. You're damn right.
No one expects a child to be perfectly aware of themselves and the world, Samuel. Remember, start with compassion for yourself. Here, let us do an exercise to help you recognize mind reading.
That cut off awfully suddenly.
Jesus Christ would have disliked the idea of anal intercourse.
I mean, it is a, and what was it he said, like, one of the first times we met him, like, penetration was the equivalent of a handshake? And you can't know that. Maybe Jesus was into that.
I know that's mind reading right there. Unless you asked Jesus Christ himself and he told you, there's no way you'd know how he feels about butt sex.
Very good, Samuel. Many in my time have claimed to know the mind of Jesus Christ, and none of them have ever even met him.
What do you want to bet Andromachos actually did meet Jesus?
You were there when he was kicking around. You ever meet him?
No, that part of the world was never really vampire-friendly.
Fair. Very sunny.
The chair you're sitting in is one of his, though. Magnificent, isn't it?
Ah, here we are. They did mention in the they did mention the furniture made by a celebrity carpenter in the notes before the full release.
Jesus Christ made this chair?
I bought it cheaply before he became a big deal. He was certainly ahead of his time as a carpenter.
Complete with the upholstery? Wow. It's held up remarkably well.
Dang. Now I feel awkward sitting in this thing.
It's more than 2,000 years old, Samuel. It is still just a chair and has experienced millennia of past wind. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So now even Andromachos is dropping fart jokes.
Crimson is upset with me because I forgot to take out the garbage. I know, because she told me so.
Well, now hang on. If she told you so, it's not really mind reading, is it? Yeah, so simply because I forgot to take out the garbage. But then again, is she upset and then she just using the lack of taking out the garbage as an excuse?
You sure that's why Crimson's mad at you, boss? It seems a pretty minor thing to be upset about.
It is up to Crimson whether she is upset or not. If she tells me why she is upset, I am not reading her mind. That is the nice thing about good communication. One never needs to wonder.
Well, dang, so it's not mind reading then.
Correct, Samuel. Let us keep going, though. I sent my friend Vlad an internet message, and he left it on read. He must hate me.
Okay, yeah, that is definitely mind reading.
That's some mind reading for sure. There's no way you know what Vlad's thinking. Maybe he wasn't ready to answer, or maybe he forgot.
Excellent, Samuel. That's correct. There are endless reasons why Vlad would leave my messages on read, and only Vlad knows them. Reading too much into an internet message is a massive waste of time.
Take note, chat.
The Pony Express was a lot healthier, I think. This internet stuff makes people get real nutty.
Mortals are in more of a rush than we are, I'm afraid. Let us continue.
Yeah, it is. It isn't. You love something like this, except using logical fallacies. Yeah, I'm almost kind of surprised someone hasn't made that. Although maybe that I don't know with Brady B, does that sound like the game you posted earlier, the Flash game that got ported to Steam?
One of the patrons of my club was having dirty thoughts about me. I know because I read his mind with my vampiric powers.
Okay, you know because you read his mind. Well, I guess he does have telepathy, so I guess that is a well, it's not disqualifying the positive.
We are focusing only on the mind read. One of the patrons of my club.
Wait just a sec. That's definitely mind reading. You read the fella's mind, so you knew what he was thinking.
Aha! That was a trick example, Samuel. It is not a cognitive distortion if I know the contents of his mind for sure. However, while it is not a distortion, it is rude to read another's thoughts, so I choose not to do so. It is better for all if private thoughts remain so.
Okay, so there is telepathy in this timeline.
You didn't actually read his mind then?
No, but at my age, the signals are obvious. He was having very dirty thoughts indeed. Would you like to hear them?
No, Samuel would very much not like to hear them.
Come on, boss.
I can't resist teasing the American a little. I will proceed with more mind-reading statements. I told our bouncer, Bert, a funny joke the other day. He was quiet, but very amused.
How the heck would you know if Bert was amused by your jokes? That's clearly mind reading.
You would though, yeah, yes, it is. There are some wide, making some sweeping judgments here. Just because Sam is a little on the uncomfortable side with the intimate matters doesn't mean all Americans, or indeed all North Americans, are.
You are correct, Samuel. No one knows what Bert is thinking. I like to think he dreams of butterflies, but who can say?
So yeah, well, it seems like we're just meant to press the mind-reading button, whether or not they are actually mind-reading.
I don't think he's thinking of butterflies.
Then you are mind-reading, Samuel. Let Bert be Bert.
Yeah, I guess so.
I believe you now understand that mind-reading may have closed the door on some opportunities for you.
I suppose. I can't really know either way, but I guess that's the point of all this. Knowing what's real and what's not.
Exactly, Samuel. So tell me, what happened to you and your brother?
You don't know already. I thought we were famous Wild West outlaws. They called us the Handsome Boys, on account of the fact that we were young and good-looking. I think we made as close to a living as possible while keeping up a life like that for some 35 years.
That's a long time to stay handsome.
They stopped calling us the Handsome Boys eventually. Mostly they just called us those two sumbitches.
Oh, okay, well, there we go.
Jeb and I married a pair of sisters, even talked about settling down in some kind of fashion. I guess we got greedy, though. One last big job, as they say in the pictures. Met this fella in a saloon who'd heard of us. Went by Ernie. He said he'd help us take down the Pioneer Missouri Bank. A take of $30,000, split 3 ways.
No, well, okay, no, I say no. This, we played the demo on stream last month, but this is out in full release now. It came out in full release, I think, like midnight Thursday, my time, when I was, I was busy almost throwing our misery run, because for some reason I didn't know you can't draw back a bow inside of a vehicle. But no, so we started playing this the full release last night, and so this is our second stream of it.
That's about $1 million in today's dollars, but that kind of money was unthinkable back when.
There you're getting. Oh well. Thank you. Yeah, I know it's. I think this is. I think the fact that so much of the game, actually like 90% of the game is voice acting. It gives me time to kind of sit back and sort through my thoughts, and then just interject when I want to. It's as opposed to me doing most of the talking and then be interrupted by Astrid when she wants any of the many things she insists on.
We got the money all right, but my brother got shot in the head, dead before he even hit the ground. I didn't know who did it. So in my rage, I killed every soul in that bank. Ernie and I ran off with that dirty money, but weren't nothing the same after that. When she heard the news, my sister-in-law was screaming so loud she scared the coyotes away. My wife left with her that night, and I didn't see either of them ever again.
As therapy, yeah. I mean, you hear how often she talks about eating trees, eating horses, drinking pee. I mean, how much time does she spend talking to herself? Of course, she needs therapy. And that is all in addition to whatever happened with her and Will. I mean, imagine just being married to that man and listening to that huffing and puffing all day, every day.
Not sure I wanted to. I had $15,000 and no interest in spending it. Just sat there in a sack. When Ernie invited me to join his gang, I saw no reason not to. I'm pretty sure I signed that devil's contract as soon as I started killing them folks in the bank.
I am sorry, Samuel. That is a truly horrifying story. I can hear the pain in your voice. Your brother was precious to you.
Yeah. He wasn't a good man, Andy. But he kept me safe. Without him, I knew I'd be doomed. I was certain I had no choice but to join the Mystic Bastards. Yeah, I know. Cognitive distortion.
I know you know, Samuel. A new one, but I think you can identify it on your own. What is the cognitive distortion you are displaying now?
Okay, well, yeah, I think, in the 19th century, $15,000, that's a good chunk of change. Hell, that's a good chunk of change now for a lot of people. No, it was making assumptions about his fate.
I was so sure I was right to join the Mystic Bastards. Ain't nobody could have convinced me otherwise.
Indeed, Samuel. This cognitive distortion is known as being always right. And when you are always right, your choices are limited, even if they lead to doom.
Do we know anyone who thinks they're always right? Yeah. Anyway, we all get things wrong sometimes, and we all know it. But in the heat of the moment, we might get so worked up we feel everything we say is correct. We might double down on opinions or even reject opposition first thing. In these moments, all our beliefs feel always right. Disagreements have nuance, and although we might get a lot right, we're not always right. Examples. The evidence is irrefutable. Bram Stoker was a vampire himself. I know the way through the canyon, no need to check the map, don't question me. Or, blending in with mortals, I've done that for years. I know what I'm doing and don't need changing now.
We become so convinced that only we have the appropriate perspective, even in a world of infinite possibilities.
Okay, so we're assuming we're right to the exclusion of all other possibilities.
One would expect immortals to be immune to this distortion after seeing their beliefs challenged over generations. But we are just as susceptible to being always right. Let's try some examples so you can identify when I am always right. I have the experience of ages. My authority cannot be questioned.
Yeah, that is definitely assuming, excluding other perspectives.
Okay, Boomer.
Okay, Sam, now you're just being mean.
Excuse me?
Just something I hear the kids say when old mortal folk are acting like they're always right. The folks born after World War II are real good at destroying the world, but they assume age leads to wisdom. It ain't necessarily so.
Look at our Sam being up on the memes.
You are always right about that. Well done, Samuel. With my multi-generational economic expertise, I am confident that market conditions will result in mass layoffs in the next quarter.
Well, it's could be, and mass layoffs are definitely a thing these days, but do you know that for sure?
Hold on, you can't know that layoffs are going to happen after the next financial quarter.
I did not say that I was certain, just that I had earned confidence in my prediction. Modern stock markets are run by a cabal of dark cultists, and one can make educated predictions about their behavior.
Wait, are you serious?
Yes. They sacrifice all to the dark god of ever-increasing profit. You should know this, Samuel. Their dark gospel reigns supreme in your land.
I mean, it's not like that's a uniquely American perspective.
Oh, right. I guess I never thought as institutional investment bankers as dark cultists, but you're right. That's exactly what they are.
If only they had chosen a more ethical god than unrestrained capitalism.
Imagine.
I know that turning another into a vampire inevitably results in resentment.
Is Trump an option of I understand the idea. I think it might be a little on the nose even for this game. But then again, it is would that be maybe a subset of being always right?
That sounds like you're always right. I know a lot of us vampires ain't too happy with our lot in life, but we ain't always resentful.
That is correct, Samuel. Of course, we must be careful when choosing whom we turn and when. Choosing to live forever is not a choice casually made.
It ain't usually a choice at all.
But we will endeavor to break that cycle, my friend. We have enough clients already without having more resentful immortals running around. Let us continue. I know for a fact that vampires become misanthropic as they age. I do not need your perspective.
There we go. There we are explicitly excluding other perspectives.
And now hold on, you ain't always right. You thinking we're gonna turn into misanthropes is limiting you from making new vampires, but that's just your thinking.
Very good, my dear Samuel. Caution is warranted when bringing a new soul into the dark, but I must consider perspectives other than my own. I have not had much good fortune with my children of darkness, but I am indeed not the only judge of character.
Oh, so Andromachos isn't necessarily a I assume he says had not had much good fortune with my children of darkness. So the people he has turned, they haven't always turned out well.
You got kids, Andy?
I had many dark children before I recognized the gravity inherent in doing so.
Ah, okay. So this is so they all happened in the era of fuckboy Andromachos.
I only wish more of my brethren could learn what a responsibility it is to begin the unlife of another. I know the internet is a passing fad. I have seen technology come and go, so I can trust my own expertise.
And again, so I go back to the line from The Simpsons from Homer. The internet, is that thing still around?
I think you're doing a little always right there, Andy. A lot of folks had unwavering confidence that the fax machine was going to stick around forever, but they weren't right neither.
Okay, I will. I chuckle at that line, knowing that I am sitting here in Hong Kong, where the one of the ways you are, like, if you want to get in touch with the government, they have, like, each government department has a fax machine, and sometimes if you want to provide them documents, you are told specifically to fax it to them. In the year of our Lord 2024.
Truly? I still use my fax machine. It is the preferred mode of communication among vampires here in Germany.
Heck, I guess that just proves no one is always right about technology. I think I get it, boss. If I had found folks to listen to other than myself, maybe I wouldn't have joined up with Ernie's gang.
Perhaps, perhaps not. You had plenty of reasons for making the choices you made. Reflecting on them is what helps us to grow.
Yeah, I'm a lucky fellow all in all. I did some stuff with those vampires that I was pretty sure erased any humanity I had left, but I was wrong. Them transcendentalists I hold up with were ready to help me no matter how nasty I was. And I know I've done a lot of thinking on my own, but I owe them everything.
I've done a lot of thinking on my own, but I owe them everything. Is that so, Samuel? Can you point out your own distortion there?
Now, isn't that... Yeah, that's disqualifying all the good work he's put in on his own.
It's my old favorite sneaking up on me, disqualifying the positive. I did plenty of work on myself.
That's right, Samuel. And why were the transcendentalists able to help you? We just went over it tonight.
Yeah, because they weren't mind reading, so they were able to help him because they didn't assume he was just a murdering bastard who would always be a murdering bastard.
I wasn't assuming they thought I was scum, which would have been mind reading. I'll let them help me.
Excellent, Samuel. Your capacity for self-reflection, and so quickly, is truly inspiring. I almost feel as though my blood is circulating on its own.
Oh, come on, Andy. I'm just a fella.
You have earned a reprieve from disqualifying the positive, my friend. Embrace it. I believe we have had a productive session today. Let us not press matters. This is difficult work, and you are handling it wonderfully. How do you feel?
You know, I feel okay. Somehow it's better than feeling good. What happened is what happened. Some bad stuff happened to me, and I did some bad stuff. And none of it lasts forever. That's the nice thing about having all the time in the world.
Your trials have made you wise indeed, my dear Samuel. Now rest, my friend. You shall soon share your wisdom with your clients. I wish you a good night.
Oh yeah, we got Dr. Drayne / Lord Lurid coming in next time.
Yeah, I believe it's early coffin time for me tonight. Have a good night, Andy.
You as well, Samuel. Rest in peace. Samuel, greetings. You look a bit pale. May I offer you something to drink?
Okay, so we'll check this now before we. Yeah, so we got here in April, and now we're getting into mid-June. It's been a hell of a month. I've got a full caseload of clients. I'm picking up new friends in Andromachos, and Andy says I've been doing a great job. I learned 3 more cognitive distortions tonight, and I think I'm really starting to get the hang of this thing. I'm also learning a lot about Crimson. There's something special about that lady. I can see why Andy's a fan of hers. Seems like she could be doing a lot more than running a bar, but maybe that's me doing some should statements. Oh, I took a little trip to Dresden. Heck of a place. Then this emperor named Augustus the Strong, who spent all Germany's money on porcelain. Wish I could have been his therapist. Okay, it is. Okay, it's about 20. Yeah, about 20 till 1. And we're about to roll into another round of sessions. And I will say I am actually kind of fading more than a little because I'm I'm working on 4 hours of sleep. So I think I might I'll call the stream slightly early. But I am definitely having a lot of fun with this, and it's a neat game. It's going some really interesting places. I mean, Jesus and anal sex. Who would have thought?
Yeah, you got any drinker's blood?
Okay, yeah, I think we will. Yeah, we'll call it there. Yeah, so we'll come back to it later. I will. I am definitely going to come back to this. I don't know how many sessions we're going to have with each client. So we've had 2 with each. So we're going to have at least 1 more. So it's going to be another 4 rounds minimum. I don't know if we're going to rule of 3s this or not. But yeah, I think we're going to get at least 1 more stream out of this. I'm definitely eager to see where this goes. But appreciate everyone hanging out tonight. Oliver, Brady B, Andrea, appreciate you all being here. I love having people to hang out and chat with as we do this. And also, Goofy, appreciate her dropping by. And Freebird as well. But yeah, thank you very much, Andrea. I don't know if it's necessarily I don't know if it's content for your stream or not, but I hope you're digging the game. It's not explicitly horror, but it's adjacent. But we're gonna wrap things up as we always do by finding someone to rate. We can pass the love on to someone else. Let's see who's out there. Oh, okay, here we go. Actually, I think I know exactly where we're going. And, speaking of horror or horror adjacent content, friend of the stream, Tiny Toxic Tofu, is playing Still Wakes the Deep, which we played through a little while ago. Kind of more Halloween than horror. But again, that's no bad thing either. But yeah, so, Tofu is doing her stream, so we'll go ahead and do. Throw some love her way. So if you could please stick around for the raid, show Tofu some love. And yeah, so tomorrow, I'm kind of assuming here, but I believe we are positioned to finish Cyberpunk. We finished the DLC, and I think we can finish up the main story tomorrow night. Because I think Act 3 is pretty short, so we're gonna just start tomorrow, and we're gonna play it till we're done. So anyway, appreciate y'all hanging out. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.